is Case from Q101, and this is A Case For, a show in which I have coerced management and letting me talk to my favorite bands. We are backstage at the Vic, a sold-out Vic, mind you.
Right on.
And we are here with Petey USA. My friend, how are you?
I'm great. I'm really good.
Good. Welcome back to your home. Welcome back to Chicago.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's always fun. It's always really fun.
I would imagine, and I would assume to some degree you're biased because you grew up here and have fond memories, but Chicago as a music town, does it trump the other 49 states? Does Chicago do it a little bit differently than everybody else?
I think so, yeah. I don't know if I'm just aware of it, but like after touring everywhere, it seems like just like access to pretty legendary venues is really easy here. This being one of them, but like the Riviera, the Aragon Ballroom, Metro, just like the places to see your favorite bands play, like 1,000 to 2,000 cap rooms in Chicago. They're all dialed. It's sick.
It's the greatest. I feel incredibly privileged.
Yeah.
Tell me what it's like as an artist, because as a fan, I've been in sold out Metro rooms dozens and dozens of time over the years, and I always say that I think the best nights of my life have been spent at the Metro.
Yeah.
I've never been on stage in front of a sold out crowd. You did that earlier this year.
Yeah.
Tell me what it's like selling out the Metro and being on stage with 1,100 people living and dying by every word you're saying.
It's cool, yeah. The Metro, the thing that makes the Metro so cool is that it's the smallest looking 1,100 cap room in the country, I think. So it's like in my head, it's tiny, but it's just because the stage is so wide and the standing area is so wide. So it's really just like, it's a nice, intimate way to play for 1,100 folks or so, and it's the coolest way to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Take me back to the very beginning. We were talking right before the camera started rolling about how your dad's favorite band is REM, which congratulations on having a cool dad. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me about the music that you first remember hearing in your house, your first favorite band, songs you heard on the radio. Tell me about just the very beginning of your musical experiences as a listener.
Musical experience as a listener. So when I was like a child, I used to dance around with my mom to a lot of like Janet Jackson. A lot of that. We love that song, "Drives Me Crazy" by the Fine Young Cannibals.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like
absolutely.
that sort of like '90s like synth pop stuff. Savage Garden was really big. And then I started getting more into like when we moved to Chicago, everything started getting a little bit Chicagoified. So like Smashing Pumpkins, like Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam's not a Chicago band, but he reps it so hard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We kind of take them in as ours
Exactly.
now, especially now because they're obsessed with playing Wrigley Field all the time. So it's like, well, yeah, they're ours.
For sure. And then I just became like kind of like a pop punk kid around 8th grade. So just like, again, access to the city, be able to see my favorite pop punk bands. Like I saw Motion City Soundtrack on their Commit This to Memory tour here at the Vic, and the Format opened, and then before them was the Match. One of three was the Matches, which is like, if you've never listened to the Matches, they're awesome. They're one of the best.
It's funny you mentioned the Format.
Yeah.
Because they're getting back together.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are really excited, and I don't know anything about them. Can you give me the lowdown on just the Format and their existence real quick? Because I feel like I'm ready to learn. Because people are so pumped about it.
The dude from the Format, I think his name's Nathan or something, started that band Fun and like made all those like smash hits. So he's like a mega pop star.
Gotcha.
The Format was just a cool pop punk band that he was in that kind of like stayed here in a really, really cool way. But their hit is the first single. You'd probably recognize it if you heard it. It's like always playing at bars.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and listen to the Format because keep on like people are so stoked about this, and I feel I'm getting FOMO now. It's like, well, I want to care about the Format too, but I didn't know anything about them.
You should care about the Format. They're sick. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
What are the legendary shows you've seen at the Vic? What comes to mind when you think about this building?
That show in particular was awesome. I saw Keen play here. Somewhere Only We Know Keen. Yeah. Wow, just random.
Interesting. Okay.
It was one of those things where it's like if you were in 7th grade and someone's parents were willing to take you to a concert, it was just cool. So I saw Snow Patrol here.
Oh, nice.
What else did I see at the Vic? I think I did not see Death Cab here. I saw Death Cab at the Riviera, which is like the Vic 2.0.
Was that your first Death Cab show?
It was, yeah.
Spiritual experience, I imagine.
Oh yeah, the best, yeah. And then I saw them every single time they came to Chicago and Milwaukee through the years.
They just played the Chicago Theatre doing 20 years of plans.
Yeah, incredible.
And, incredible. And then you realize, especially the back half of that record, you're like, oh man, there's some sad songs on this one. When they play it in sequence, you're like, oh man, this is really, oh man, I gotta sort of walk this off.
Totally. Yeah.
So you had a cool dad growing up. You had a lot of great music in the house. What's the first thing you remember listening to that was uniquely yours, that you discovered that your parents had no sort of attachment to?
Death Cab.
Death Cab,
for
okay,
sure.
really?
Yeah, Death Cab was like, this is this is like, I know this is my favorite band and this is my favorite band. They just so happen to be everyone's favorite band too. But
now, was it through the OC that you discovered Death Cab, or how did you become a Death Cab fan?
I think all that started happening at the same time. So I was in 6th grade when Transatlanticism came out, and I was in 8th grade when Plans came out. So those 2 years or so, like, you know, that's when boys become men, you know.
And Plans will make you become a man.
Yeah, Plans will make you. Yeah, 8th grade and Plans will both make you become a man. But it was like, so Transatlanticism been out for a year and a half or whatever. I became obsessed with it, and then Plans was the first record that I was excited to come out. It was the first record of any band that I knew was coming out, and I was excited.
Yeah, that you were anticipating.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it was before, I wasn't even sentient on album cycles or bands release records and then they tour the record. Like, I didn't know about that. I was just always like, what are the odds? Death Cab is coming into town right after this. I just got into this new album. How convenient. But yeah, that was it. That was the first band I took like ownership of. But it was like such a everyone thing, you know. But that was cool. I loved the comradeship. Yeah, nothing was super gatekeepy, you know. It's like everyone and their mother fucking loved Death Cab. It was cool.
Yeah, I guess the closest I have for a contemporary experience is after Turnstile put out Glow On. You know, I had been in a Turnstile previously. I saw them on Time and Space Tour for the first time, but then it was like, oh, everybody likes this thing I like, and this thing is cool, which is good. Oh, I want people to like cool things. This is
awesome.
Good.
Yeah. Another thing is like when later on in high school, like whenever Passion Pit would come into town, the whole school would go, and it was just it was like prom, you know, and that was fun, and I miss that. Yeah.
I miss Passion Pit.
I do too.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What a bummer. Well, let's talk about you as a performer.
Sure.
What's the first thing you did that you feel like people cared about on like a widespread level? And do you remember that feeling of like, was it the validation of like, this is everything that I've wanted, or is it scary that people kind of know who I am now?
It was such a slow burn because I had a weird thing because I started getting really popular on TikTok for doing like weird comedy videos, and it was during COVID, so I wasn't seeing anyone. I also didn't have access to my own account because I was doing it with my manager, and so he was just kind of like filming me and posting on the account. So one day it just sort of came up and it was just like, you got like 100,000 followers on this thing, and I was like, and in my mind I was like, oh, TikTok is just like an app that like everyone just goes constantly viral on, so it kind of zeroes out and nothing's anything. And I was releasing music simultaneously. That was like doing pretty well, and could tell I was getting a fan base. And then when COVID stopped, I played here my first show at the Subterranean, and I sold out 2 nights there, and that was the first like actual indication that something had transcended into real people fandom, and it was pretty overwhelming and cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you wouldn't mind maybe just diving into this for a second, because you're somebody that cut your teeth on an independent label, really grinded, and now is it fair to say you're on a major label at this point? Is that the correct term?
I've completed my my duties on the major label.
Wonderful.
Ship.
At the very least, you've put out records on a major label.
Yeah.
Can you explain in the 2020s the difference between the two and what releasing on an indie looks like compared to a major label?
You know what? It feels the same.
Really?
Yeah, it feels the exact same. Like, I was signed to my favorite indie label, one that I was like a fan of, and it was my now manager. He manages me now. But it was Terrible Records, and it was just like 3 chill people in a room in a co-working space, and we put our heads together and did a whole bunch of really fun creative stuff, and it felt like super personal and awesome. And then when I got signed to Capitol, thank God the Capitol building was under construction. And the A&R there came from the indie world. So she just like knew what was up, and she was really, really cool. So again, it was just like a small group of people in a co-working space. Really not, because I'm not big on the pomp and circumstance stuff. Like, I'm not jumping on the conference table.
Doing the Machine Gun Kelly.
Exactly. That's, we were all thinking it, but I hate that. It felt really nice. Capitol was just like, all right, well, we got a bank account now. That's nice.
There you go. There you go. Well, we got a table here if you feel the need to dance on it at
any
point. Feel free. I know. I know Machine Gun Kelly means so much to you.
Yeah. Big fan.
The Yips. Yeah. It's out. It's great. My first question for you is, can you tell me how the cover art was made? I think of all the album covers I've seen this year, this is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
I was just a fan of this guy's album cover world. So I just like, I've always been kind of like interested in the jam world and the Billy Strings world and that sort of stuff. And I saw a Billy Strings poster that I was like, that's phenomenal. And I DM'd him, this guy named Dave Clock. And we just commissioned him to do the album art, and we all thought it was time to just like have kind of like a real original piece of artwork. And he was down and did it really quick, and it was so fun. It was a really fun process, just going back and forth with notes and stuff.
And it's awesome. It was the first thing that jumped out to me. It was like, oh man, this looks really nice. I like the way this is done. Digitally, it shows up well, and the physical copy, you're like, no, what a nice piece of art this is.
Yeah, he's well awesome. Done. If you knew how fast he did it, it was pretty crazy.
Really, he
whipped it out. Yeah, he's really talented. He's a really nice guy too.
Well, a few months beyond the release of this record, I always like asking artists this because sometimes I'll say, hey, how do you feel about it 3 months later or whatever? And they're like, I'm super happy with it. Everything was dialed in exactly how we want. And then I talk to some people who are like, I can't stop thinking about this one song. I should have done this in the bridge. It's all I can think about, and it's like ruining tour for me. A few months beyond the release of this record, how are you feeling about it?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm really, I'm really like, as far as the recording movies, I get really heavy into like my Buddhism shit, but just like when something's out, it just is gone. And learning to play the songs with a live band kind of just takes it into a whole new direction. So these live versions that I play every night are really kind of the only versions that I know, because I'm not listening to my own stuff. And it's kind of just like, well, I'm having fun playing them. And sometimes I'll hear a song from like Lean Into Life or something and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that's what it actually sounds like. Cool, I'm glad people like it. But yeah, there's not a lot of looking back. Because I always know I'm going to make more records.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Is that something that you find pertains not only artistically but personally with you, where you're just a man of few regrets?
For sure. Yeah, I'm not a big regretter at all. At all. Yeah. I'm not a nostalgic guy. I'm not a sentimental guy, too, for better or worse. Like, so it's all kind of wrapped up into the same thing. But, yeah.
Well, how do you feel about bands now? If you're not a nostalgia guy, I'm curious, because you have such a respect for the music that's come before you, but you're also this emerging artist that, I'll say it, has quite a bit of buzz. The next time you play here, you're going to play an even bigger building. But it seems like we've hit this point where every festival is being headlined by the same bands that were headlining 10 years ago and that were on massive tours 20 years ago. Yeah. And do you ever look at some older bands? I know you've been on the road with some of them, but do you ever look at older bands and go like, yeah, but what about me? Like, why are we in this nostalgia-driven climate right now? Does that ever annoy you as an artist?
A little bit. I don't know. It doesn't annoy me. Certainly not as an artist. I just like I'm not super inclined to go to a lot of that stuff as a fan, I guess. I think that like there's plenty of bands from like the quote unquote nostalgia era that are still making like really great records and just like not doing the legacy thing because they just keep making really good. Like we were just talking about Joyce Manor. Joyce Manor's playing the Salt Shed. They're like 7 records in. And the new stuff that Q101 is now playing, which I'm so excited about. But like it's some of the best stuff they've ever done. Exactly. So I mean, there's plenty of that to go around. So I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of the stuff that gets me excited as a fan. As an artist, I've got kind of no real opinions on that. But yeah, sense. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I find. In media myself, so like I a lot of the stuff that I'm really into, I come from like the hardcore world, and I'm straight edge, and like I'm really into that sort of stuff. So I have people in that industry, if you will, or at least that scene, I should say, that like I identify with it on a personal level. Like their songs mean a lot to me. But I find in the wider media space, I have a hard time relating to a lot of men. They're either too alpha or too whatever. And with your music specifically, I'm like, oh, this guy's coming from a perspective that I feel like I understand. And I'm just curious if when you're out on the road, if you have a specific archetype of person that you feel like comes up to you a lot and that has really attached themselves to your music. Because I think you're hitting on something to me, and I'm fully projecting here, but you've hit on like the journey of masculinity that I don't think a lot of people have hit on.
Sure, yeah. I mean, masculinity is such like a broad, nebulous, insanely complicated thing to talk about. Yes. And it's only talked about in the public sphere where everything's reduced to just like a infographic on Instagram. And so it's just like, it's become such a horseshit thing to even like try and talk about. The only thing that I could really say on that is just like embracing my own masculinity just got me out of a hole. And it, in a weird sort of paradox way where like everyone's talking about how masculinity is bad. Just personally leaning into it like helped me out. And I know about like, so it's all about trying to navigate some of the icky parts of it while also like embracing the stuff that actually makes you happy and that actually can be useful. I don't know. It's a complicated thing to talk about, but I think a lot of the people who go to the concerts are feeling that same sort of confusion, I guess, and a lot of them are in their 30s. I think you're the youngest fan. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to ask you about the song Model Train Town.
Yeah.
You have a line towards the end of that again, just one of those things that jumped out to me because I don't really feel like I had ever heard anybody hit on this quite this way before.
Yeah.
Where you say, I felt relaxed and I felt guilty.
Yeah.
And I just want to know where that came from because whenever I'm relaxed, I feel wrong about it.
Sure, yeah. I think that whole song is just about getting rid of conditions and dynamics. So taking a relationship and sort of like placing it into a vacuum. And in this sort of like daydream, it's like the reason why you end up in this comfortable vacuum sans weird dynamics with extraneous other factors going on is because of like an apocalyptic event happens where you're the only two people alive. And so all your weird social anxiety goes away, but it's because of this like a really negative thing that happens. So it's just like you're relaxed, but it's because these are just completely ridiculous conditions, you know what I mean, that like, and you're not growing from it at all. So I think it's just like the idea that you have to like jump into you have to kind of like embrace your fears to like grow as a person, and oftentimes when we're relaxed it's because we're kind of skirting around that, and maybe there's a guilty feeling that comes from that because you know you're not growing.
I think that's such a beautiful concept. I really enjoy that song. I think that's my favorite on the record.
Cool.
I'm going to ask you to puff your chest out for a bit as an artist and as a writer before we end this interview.
Sure.
Because you're somebody where so many of your lyrics jump out to me. It's like, oh man, that's so creative, that's so clever. Writing this most recent record, is there a line or two that in the moment as you're writing the song, you're like, wow, I crushed this. This is really good writing.
Interesting. I would probably say Model Train Town in general. It just came really, really easily. It was a feeling that I knew how to write about super succinctly. I was able to just like tie it up really easily. Like there wasn't a lot of like it just kind of all came out at once as a cohesive whole, the story at least. So I would definitely say that whole song.
Good, I like that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Before we go, we're rapidly approaching the end of the year, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But you don't strike me, just given the conversation that we've had, as maybe somebody that has a ton of tangible goals or has like these real wants that you have. But I am curious. You've put out a bunch of great records. People really like you. They like what you're doing. What else do you want? Is it just to write music and hope that, just hope that people come along and like it, or what's sort of the goals looking ahead into the future?
I just think that the nature of the industry and everything like kind of like changing around me. All I know right now is that my life rocks. And so maintaining status quo in a situation where that might not even be contingent on me doing a really good job. I think, just keeping at that same level, keep cruising. That's definitely my goal, with nothing particular in mind other than just like, this is great. Let's keep going.
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I think you're fantastic. Petey USA, look into this camera. Let the people of Q101 Chicago know where they can find you, what's going on, anything you want the people to know.
Right on. You can find me on Instagram at Petey USA, Petey'sWebsite.com for concert tickets and some other information. I don't know. I haven't been on it in a while, but I think those are my two things. TikTok, all the
is
shit.
There as well. Well, thank you so much, Petey USA. Thank you so much for your time. My name's Case. New episodes of A Case For every Monday on Q101's YouTube channel. If you've made it this far, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I've talked to Militarie Gun. I've talked to Knock Loose. I've talked to Jeff Rosenstock. My guess is, if you're watching this interview, I've talked to an artist that you like. I'm also on Instagram @_Case Lowe. That is CaseLowe. And until next time, Petey USA, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Right on.